Sometimes I would have to tell females, well, girl, I don't know if he's a driller, drug dealer, together. I don't know if he's a driller. He might be, a user. Okay? Because if I don't see no profit, then you ain't no driller. You're a user. He's a druser. Well, hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and tip your favorite narrator via Cash App at $NAROB on YouTube. And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below, and for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's begin reading When Silence Screamed, The Girl Who Knew Too Much by Gloria Valz. I told y'all we was going to get back into a new book. Into a messy book. Where do I begin? The best place is at the very start, Long Island, New York, where my story begins with my mother, my father, and my Aunt Maggie. A few months after my birth, my parents managed to secure a small apartment in Brooklyn, on a street with a name that still makes me smile, Star Street. Life has a way of writing stories for us, even before we know how to hold the pen. My dad was the lively one, always full of energy. He was the one who taught me how to ride a bike, how to balance on roller skates, and even how to defend myself when life threw its punches. So anyway, before we go further, I first heard about Gloria Velez because of a DJ Vlad interview that she had, okay? And to me, her story was profound. Bitch, it's a lot in this book. I didn't know that she was Aaron Hall's baby mother. You know that nigga sick in the head, right? He think he is supposed to be here to screw every woman on earth. It's his duty. It's his job to screw every woman on earth, or at least that he wants. What threw me off about Aaron Hall, and I know you're like, Nay, we reading the Gloria Valz book. I know, but she is his baby mother. What threw me off was that Aaron Hall and the R. Kelly was in competition to see who was the nastiest mother hoochie. Them ninjas was at a party, and Aaron Hall grabbed one of the girls and, ate her groceries right then and there just to prove that he was the nastiest. Oh, you the nastiest. Because you don't know whether or not that girl took a dump, okay? Because you don't know what that girl did that day, okay? So because she had so many twists and turns in the industry and touched so many people like Jay-Z, Luke, the Don't Stop, Get It, him, Aaron Hall. She's been in the industry, and she started super young, disgustingly young. That's why it's important to me for me to read this book, but we're going to keep going. The man who once taught me to ride a bike was coming home with strangers, prostitutes, drugged out, and barely recognizable. The laughter was replaced with fights, mostly verbal, then one nasty physical altercation. I can still hear the echoes of those arguments in my mind. Brooklyn was alive with the sounds of music, laughter, and the buzz of community. Until I was in the 3rd grade, it was the backdrop to my childhood, a place where family and friends were always close by. I attended PS 145, a school where I learned, played, and found myself surrounded by friends. There were even older girls who made it their mission to protect me, like big sisters, watching out for their own. My memories of Brooklyn are filled with joy, holiday parties, where the house would overflow with loud Spanish music, tables packed with food, and the adults growing merrier as the night wore on. My mother never joined in the drinking. She was always there, quietly making sure everyone was taken care of. So everybody remembers their happy place, before you realize how ugly the world was or is. Mine is Sursum Quarter. That's my happy place. Even though, some traumatic situations happened to me there, I just remember myself being the most happiest in Sursum Quarter. In the projects, Nene? Yes. How she describes it is just how it was for us Gen Xers. It's probably us, maybe the millennials are the last to understand family, and community. But life in Brooklyn was not all joy. There was a high school across the street, and I can still picture the chaos as teenagers sometimes turned on their teacher. The world outside our door was unpredictable, a mix of safety and danger that I was just beginning to understand. My father was a hustler, always trying to make ends meet. But it was not easy for him. He struggled especially because he used the same things he was trying to sell. Despite his flaws, he had a past that revealed a different side of him. Pause. I know I'm talking too much. I'm sorry, but this is what we do over here in the book club. But honey, whenever I hear situations where someone is talking about hustling, and Gloria Valz, I don't know you, girl. I really don't know you. I don't know you or your daddy, and I'm not trying to talk about you or your daddy. Is he hustling to sell, or is he hustling to smoke or shoot? They don't understand that you have guys that literally be out there on the street every day, and most times they be users. Literally be out there on the street every day going hand to hand. Why are you so old going hand to hand? Leave that to the young people who can run fast, okay? Who can still hop over fences, okay? And run, duck, and hide. Leave that to them. But when you're an old head and you're selling, especially hand to hand, are you selling to sell and come up with a profit? Or are you selling to use? Because what the person who you'll get the drugs from will say, okay, I'll give you this much if you sell this much. And sometimes I would have to tell females, well, girl, I don't know if he's a driller, drug dealer, together. I don't know if he's a driller. He might be, a user. Okay, because if I don't see no profit, then you ain't no driller. You're a user. He's a druser. I was still a child, but I could feel the shift. The man who once steadied my handlebars was now stumbling through the door, lost in a world I did not understand. I learned what addiction looked like far too early, and I made a promise to myself that night in the bathroom, a scared vow born of heartbreak. It was not just about avoiding drugs. It was about survival. It was about never letting darkness claim me the way it had claimed him, child, because, earlier she was talking about how her father would come through the door with drugs, strangers, junkies, prostitutes, whatever it is. And it was a mess. And she already explained the mother to be the kind of person to just sit there and look, bitch, do something. We're going to explain the mother's personality later. But the father came in and had a time in the bathroom. I don't know if he was trying to get clean. I don't know if he had some bad dope, honey. But the mother was yelling, you see this? You see your father? He's a mess. This is him. Look at this. And she vowed to herself, oh, I don't want to be that nigga. Remember that little episode we talked about when I was in high school? And all I remember is the song that said, junkie, stone cold junkie. Y'all didn't put it in the comments below where the dude was shaking and shivering on the toilet. And I'm in junior high school, like, I don't never want that shit to happen. Whatever it is he got, nigga, I don't want it. Because I was so ignorant that I equated every drug with shaking and shivering on the toilet. Child, I equated smoking marijuana with shaking and shivering on the toilet. So I didn't do it. I smoked my first, I never smoked, but I did my first edible in my 30s. And that was only because my mama died and I needed something to relieve the pain, child. But you know, we move on. The tale of my mother's early years is one woven with stark realities and silent struggles that shaped the very fabric of her being. She was born into a world where her mother's barely more than a child herself grappled with the immense responsibilities of parenthood under the watchful eyes of a society that did not hesitate to dictate personal lives. My grandmother became a mother at an astonishing youthful age, her first child arriving when she was just 14, the next at 15, and her third by 16. Well, Aretha Franklin had her first one at 12. Who the hell around here fucking on a 12-year-old? Oh, it's that Sammy Cookie, but it happens. Y'all know my mama had me at 15. It happens. It's just a mentality. Either you're going to get out there and you're going to do what you got to do, or you're going to roll over and die. Shit. Or get off the pot. My grandmother became a mother at an astonishing youthful age, her first arriving when she was just 14, the next at 15, and her third by 16. The courts of the era wielded an intrusive power over women's bodies, compelling my grandfather to marry young and going as far as to order a procedure to ensure no more children would follow. Y'all remember in the 70s when young girls was going to get abortions? Them girls thinking that they was terminating pregnancies and coming out sterile. So do I believe that? Answer yes. This is what this young girl put in the book. Now, I don't know if that was something that they told her and she just believed it, or whether or not she has facts to prove it. But it's always been like let's say, an urban myth that the young ladies, including myself, of that era, or that were born in the 60s and 70s, were sterilized. Young black girls, when they went to these family centers, were sterilized in the hood. Now, I ain't saying I ain't never got pregnant before. What I'm saying is that was something that was said that I definitely would not mind telling somebody again. Bitch, a lot of us were sterilized unknowingly. We went in there to get one procedure done and came out with two. Okay, but I'll keep moving. The extent of control exerted over women's autonomy was profoundly alarming. Living on welfare while working in a factory, my grandmother faced a daily battle between the scarcity imposed by her economic circumstances and the relentless demands of motherhood. Welfare then was not what it is today. It was merely the essentials: government, cheese, eggs, milk, and bread, barely enough to scrape by. My mother's life was rightly regimented from home to school, from school to church, and back again. At home, the responsibility to keep the household fell heavily upon her shoulders. more so than on her older sisters or her younger brothers. The latter being the cherished favorite who could do no wrong in her mother's eyes. It's because you mothers be knowing who the special one is. Y'all be knowing which one is going to be what. Oh, I know that motherfucker going to have a lot of babies. She going to be strong and independent. Her, I might have to play her close to the chest. I might have to teach her how to cook and clean because her social skills is lacking a little bit. So we might have to keep her close. So you parents know what it is. Sometimes it's not that y'all are choosing one child over the other. It's just you know who's the one that you're going to push out there to be strong. Y'all know this. Oh, she the strong one. She ain't going to need me. Him, oh yeah, he going away to college. Him, oh, he going to play basketball. We good. That's the come up right there. Protect the bag at all costs. The instability of my grandmother's life was compounded by several abusive relationships. One of her partners was particularly cruel, mentally torturing them and restricting their freedom to a suffocating degree. He allowed them to leave the house only on his terms, casting a shadow of fear over their daily lives. Physical and verbal abuse was unfortunately common, but my mother also hinted a darker form of abuse that were harder to articulate. As I peeled back the layers of my mother's story, I began to understand her silence was not just quiet. It was burdened. It held decades of pain, survival, and sacrifice she never knew how to name. The move to Florida was supposed to be a new beginning for our family, but it turned out to be the start of a new set of trials.